For our 2 new people who just joined, we do have a link to this presentation, and this is an ongoing presentation. If you're new, this is something that as you proceed through Google Certification Level 1, we will continue to add to this slide deck. So it's always going to be available to you, and each time you come back for a new session, you will find the new session's information. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and exit out, and I am going to proceed to the slides area just to show you what we are going to be looking at today as far as our content. And I do want to show you this very quickly. If I can drag it over here. I do want to point out before we jump into our content today that the website for Fayette County NTI, our website in the Office of Instructional Technology, we do have the bit.ly link here in case any of you have not seen that, and it is bit.ly/FCPS-NTI. And I'm showing you the website because in the upper right-hand corner, underneath Teacher Resources, we also have information on our Google Level 1 certification here that you can go and visit on your own time. And you can scroll down and see the upcoming dates and so forth, the topics and things of that nature. So I just wanted to point that out. Make sure you were aware of it. And it is on the Fayette County website, our NTI website, under Teacher Resources. Okay. As I was saying before, for our new folks coming in, please, if you have a question, use the chat box. Kelly is going to be happy to answer any questions and fill you on anything that you might need to know. Okay, so we're taking a look back here at the slide deck, and what we're going to do today is we're going to work our way through the items on this deck. I'm going to quickly show you how to do these items. On the left side, we're going to talk about our skill sets. The right side will have the practice tasks that you will return to or do on your own, I should say, at a later date, at a time that is best for you. But we have tried to create a task that will simulate what will happen on the test. Because the one thing about the Google certification test, it does have multiple choice, but it also has task-related things. And it literally gives you specific things to do, and you have to do each one of those things. You have to use the things they give you in order to get full credit. And so what we've tried to do in our practice task is to simulate that so you get a feeling for what that might feel like during the test. But we're going to be working today over in this section here, and I'm getting ready to remove the slide deck so I can bring up a blank slide so we can start practicing and learning. But remember, if you copy down the link, you do have access to that. And if I go right here, I'm going to click exit. And what I am going to do is I'm going to go to my Google Drive. So a Google slide is created in the same location as anything else in Google Drive. You find the location where you want to start it. It could be at that first drive level when you first enter into Google Drive. In this case, I went ahead and browsed into a folder I wanted to use. But everything still happens over here on the upper left-hand side in the New button area. And if I click New, you can see we have the first options available, and Google Slides is one of the top options that you see in the first pop-up. I'm going to scroll down to Google Slides and click on it, and I'm going to get a blank slide presentation. Now, I'm going to say this. If you have any experience at all with Google Slides, and honestly, I think a lot of us by this point during NTI, if you didn't have it before, you probably do now. I really don't think a lot of the things I'm going to show you today is going to be drastically new, if new at all. But it will be things that, one, if you're a total newbie, because you don't have to be here for certification. One of the things we did was we put this on our site as just a session. So this session works for people who are brand new to Google Slides, but it also is going to cover some of the topics that we know in the past we have seen on the certification test. So either way, we're going to cover that information and give that to you. So in our blank slide deck, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to title our slide and give it a name, our deck a name. And so I decided to go ahead and use one of my favorites. I used to teach Holocaust literature when I taught high school, and I know it is a middle school concept, but I am going to go ahead and add a title to this slide deck. Now when I do so, the title is living here on this first slide. However, if you are a new user to Google Slides, I want you to notice in the upper left-hand corner that it still says Untitled Presentation. It's very important for you to know that you have to put a title in, because if you don't, it will retain. Everything saves in Google. It's going to save it. But if you don't change it and put a title in, it's going to retain that title of Untitled Presentation. Well, that's all fine and dandy until you have about 50 untitled presentations and you're panicking thinking you lost what you were creating. So when you first type something into your slide and you click inside the box for Untitled Presentation to rename, it will pick up those first items that you have typed on the slide. Now I'm going to make sure though, right now, I still haven't retained that. I haven't renamed it. I need to make sure I click outside of that box to be sure that it does say Crystal Knot. And so I have connected those two, and so we have a title. For anybody that needs to return to rename it, you're going to have to click inside, and then you can erase, add to, as needed. But always be sure to click outside the box so that you retain that item. So adding a title to your slide is really as simple as that. The next thing we want to talk about is how do you add slides to your deck. So if we come over here in the upper left corner here, you'll see a plus sign and you'll see a drop down. So if I click plus, it's going to give us this slide, and you can see it's got two text boxes. I do want to click the drop down though to show you that you have other options as well. You can customize your layout at this point. And so if I wanted to add a third slide and I wanted to make it like this one, I can add that third slide. I could add a blank slide and so forth. And so when I click on those, notice how there's this single text box down here at the bottom on this one because I chose that layout. This slide is the blank one. And if I click the plus, it actually gives me another blank one. It's following the one from before. So let's talk about inserting text though. The next thing we want to be able to do is we want to be able to put text into our slides. And so the first thing is I'm going to name the slide. As you can see, I kind of got my little theme going here. I'm going to click inside this particular text box here, and I'm going to paste in the item that I want to use. Okay. At this point, if I want to resize it, I can highlight it. I can click here. I'm going to hover here so you can see it on font size and enlarge it to something that I feel like looks appropriate. So now I have what I call really a header for this slide. But we have another text box here that we can use or not, depending on whatever it is that we need. And so I'm going to go ahead and I have some text that I've grabbed. I'm going to click inside the box and I'm going to paste it in. All right. Now, at this point, if this works for me as far as the size of text, that's fine. Or I can change it again and enlarge it. And that might depend on what you're doing and if you're presenting in a classroom where students are looking from the back of the room or something. But anyway, or versus viewing on their computer. So we have some text here. We have our header. So we have done those two items. If I wish, I can come up here and I can change the color of my header if I wish. So what I have to do is I'm going to highlight. And if you notice there's an A up here at the top of the toolbar, and if I hover over it, it actually will say text color. I'm going to slow down for a moment so you see that. But I can select the color and I could change it and make it red if I wish. So that is as simple as that. So next, let's talk about if we want to add a shape to our slide deck. And maybe I want to add that shape to this slide. And the great thing that I like about shapes in Google Slides is you can also write on them. So I'm going to go up here to the top of the toolbar and I'm going to hover, and you see this little icon. It's kind of got a circle over top of a square. And if I put my cursor over it, you see that it says shape. So I'm going to stop for a moment so everybody can see that. Actually, I have somebody to admit. So I am going to select shape. And it actually has different things available there. You can see there's shapes, arrows, callouts, and equations. So I'll just kind of do a little tour here so you can see those items. If you haven't explored those before, it's a perfect time for you to do so. But we're going to put in a shape. And I've decided that we're going to add a circle to this particular slide. Oops. So I'm going to select my circle. Now notice that the cursor turns into a plus sign. And so it's expecting you to draw the circle. So you're going to click and hold, and then you're going to make the circle be what you would like it to be. The great thing about a shape is that you can move it around. All right, I can do that. The other great thing about it is I can also move my text if I needed to. I could move my text up, which obviously makes no sense. I could bring it down. I can even grab the box and resize that text box so that my words shift over to one side. It is an option for me. If I click back on that shape though, I can enlarge it, make it a little bigger. Maybe it needs for my needs. And we can even change the color background of that shape. So if I want to make that fill color something else besides that gray, I can come to the top of our toolbar. So we have our toolbar here. And you can see that there's a little sort of paint bucket is really kind of how I'll describe it. And when you hover over that little bucket that shows it pouring out something, it's called the fill color. And the fill color is what it is you would use to fill in something. You can fill in a shape, you can fill in a line, they're different things, but you can put that color in that particular item. So I'm going to click on the fill color. And I don't know, maybe I am going to choose the yellow. So you can see that our shape now is colored into like a pale yellow. I have the option to change the border color. You can see that the border is kind of a black or gray, dark gray. I can also change that border color, and maybe I want to put a purple around it. So you can see it's slightly purple. I can even choose to enlarge it and make it a heavier border weight. But at this point, I can also begin typing in the shape. So that's what I love about the shape, is because I can put my text in there. I can also choose to highlight that text, return to the toolbar up above, and I can choose, and if you see when I hover over this particular sort of bunch of lines, it says align. It's got a drop down arrow, and I can choose to center that text. And so I might center the text and say I need a little bit bigger because I want that ellipsis with the 3 dots to appear where it should. Now I want you to notice something though, because I can type on that shape, when I move the shape, the words move with it. So it stays contained on the shape. Really probably one of my favorite items about slides. All right, so we're putting our slide deck together here, and we have inserted a shape. So let's talk about how to add lines in WordArt. So I'm going to move on to the next slide, and maybe I want to add to this slide the word aftermath. But I've decided that I want to say that that item is going to be WordArt. So how am I going to I could type in here. I could put aftermath, and that might be fine, okay? But I've decided I would like to have some WordArt. So I don't know if any of y'all have noticed before that you do have the option, if you click on Insert, and I'm going to slow down so that you can see that. And I am going to go down to where it says WordArt. It's going to give you this box. And so now I'm going to type the word aftermath and use it. So now I have, you can see it's kind of bolded it out, shaped it. It's got an inside. So in other words, we can fill the middle of it. So if you remember from the shape how I turned the fill color from gray into that pale yellow, we can now go to the top of our toolbar. We can go back to that little bucket that's pouring, the one that says fill color here. And now I could choose a different shade, and maybe I'm going to choose this purple. I even have the option with my WordArt to now go and I can change the font. So I'm up here at the top of the toolbar again, and I may change the font. So if I click my drop down, I could go select something else, and perhaps I want to do Aftermath. I can resize the box as so, although as you can see, it doesn't look very well. But you can come in here and you can play with these items and drag your WordArt around. Let's see if it'll let me. Yeah, you have to kind of be really careful in resizing it and so forth. I believe it'll even let me bold it. So notice how it got a little stronger and so forth. So very simple way to add WordArt. So remember, once again, coming up here to Insert to WordArt, and that's where you get your box in order to add your items there. But perhaps I would like to put my WordArt here, and I want to add a line or something for emphasis, or maybe to divide out a text area inside of my slide deck. And we have that option as well. So if you haven't played, I think a lot of people probably don't pay as much attention to the lines in slide decks and Google Slides in the slide deck. So if I go up here to the toolbar and I hover over that little line looking thing, you see it says select line. So if we click our drop down arrow, it gives us our different options that you may use. All right. And so you on your own can go through and explore all the different types of shapes like arrows. I use lines and arrows quite a bit. I use the other types of things like connectors. I don't think I've ever used a connector. So it's all about what you would need for your own presentation. But I'm just going to go to a regular line and click that. And you notice there's the cursor, and it's that plus symbol looking thing again. It's waiting for you to click to hold down your mouse and to draw the line. So see, you can angle it if you want, or you can try to level it. So now we have a line, and it comes in sort of a dark gray color. However, like everything else, you can customize that line. If I would like, I can come up here. I can hover over this little pencil with the line underneath it, and it says line color. A lot of things in Google Slides, if you're a newbie here, you're not somebody experienced, if you're new to Google Slides, really a lot of the toolbar, just hover over different icons and items, check inside of Insert or Format up here on this level, and you're going to find a lot of the things that you need just by poking around and looking. But I'm going to go ahead and select line color because I've decided that my line needs to be a different shade. So I'm going to click on it, and perhaps I'm going to choose an orange. Now at this point, a lot of times that line, notice that's the thickness that it came in as, but I can go to the top. I can change that. So I've made my line thicker. And I can now shift that around and move it as needed. All right. And remember, if you have any questions at any time, Kelly is monitoring the chat box, and you are welcome to ask her anything or whatever. She can fill you in on everything. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we are going to add in some linked text. I think all of us know what a hyperlink is. We know that a hyperlink is what you click on to go visit a website. And you can paste a straight link into any item, of course. All right, I could paste it right in. For example, I'll grab this. Now, notice I can't do anything because I don't have a text box. I'm clicking. You can't see me click, but I'm trying to put something in and it won't work. I need to add a text box. I'm going to do so. Notice I went up here to the toolbar and I hovered over the T for text box, and I am going to draw it in. So here's my text box. Now, we can paste in a hyperlink like so, but it's not very attractive. And so really what most of us really encourage you to do is to use linked text. So let's say that I put this in and I decide that I would like to add a link to the words United States Memorial Museum. To create linked text, all I have to do is highlight that text, exactly the item that I want to put the hyperlink to go to. I highlight it, then I'm going to go to the top where the toolbar is. I'm going to find that little chain link looking thing. And when I hover over it, notice it says Insert Link. You can also find it over on the other part of the toolbar under Insert here as well. All right. I tend to operate a lot in this area. Now I've highlighted my item. I'm going to choose my little chain link, and it says paste in the link here. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to paste in my link. And in order to finish this step, you have to click Apply. So now we have linked text, and very critical, and look how much more attractive it looks than a raw hyperlink where it's just got that big long thing pasted in. Much nicer. And remember, at any time we can click to find that text box. You can resize. I can even come into the text box and center if I want to. Remember, up here, the align, I can choose to center and place it. And I also like this feature. Notice the red line. The great thing about Google Slides, it'll also tell you where the center of things are by using those red lines. Ooh, and you have to kind of pay attention. Notice we've got the red lines crossing each other, and that's dead center of the slide, which in this case, of course, doesn't make much sense with my line there. I'm going to drag that down. So the next thing I want to show you is the fact that you can change the background color of your slide. So remember, guys, some of you are here as brand new users, and that's fine. We're kind of doing a fast-paced introduction to Google Slides, kind of the highlights. Some of you are here because of certification, and the things we're covering are very likely the things that you might encounter on a task for the Level 1 certification test. So it doesn't matter if you're a newbie or not, you're going to have a lot of great information here. So we want to talk about changing the background color. I'm going to click over here on the slide, just kind of make sure I'm in the slide area. And you may notice it says background up here at the top in the toolbar. I can come up here to the background, and I can change the color. And if I want to, maybe I want to make it a dark green and say done. All right. So I have that option, but maybe I'm not satisfied with that. I can come back to background at the top in the toolbar. I could even change it to a different color, of course, but I have the option as well. You may have already noticed it says image. I can choose an image. I can upload something, use something from the camera if I want to plaster my face all over it. I'm going to do Google image search. I think it's great for you as a teacher and great for students because they have the ability to do this as well. But you could search for images, and maybe right now we would all like to be at the beach. I would, I'll be honest. So I don't know, I'll use one that's kind of pale. You select the image you want, and then notice in the bottom right-hand corner it says Insert. Say done. And now you have this gorgeous slide background where we would all like to be right now on the beach. That is for sure. All right. So I'm going to move on to my next slide because we have a lot of content to cover, and I know time is getting short. And we want to be able to insert media. And I can insert media on any of the slides that I've done before. Now this will be a little more difficult because it's kind of crowded. But let's say I go to the fourth slide and I say, well, I want to insert an image. So what do? You have two places. You can go to Insert, and you'll see Images at the very top. You also have this little icon here. Kind of has a little mountain range in it. It says Insert Image. So our options, you have different options. You can browse into your Google Drive. You could upload. You can take a picture. You've got different options. I love Search the Web. I love it for both me as a person making a presentation and for students when they are creating and so forth. So you can browse the web for an image you need that's maybe a keyword or something associated to the topic you want. So since I'm doing Kristallnacht as part of an event that happened during the Holocaust, I can go in and find an image I like, and maybe I select this one. I click on it, notice the check mark, go to the bottom. I could even select a second one. And I'm going to click Insert at the bottom. So it's going to insert those two photos into my slide deck. Very simple way to bring your items in. Okay. You can resize them, of course, by clicking on the image and then grabbing the corner, move them around as needed, and so forth. All right. So very simple way to add an image. to your slide deck. All right. Next, what about adding a video? Okay, we also have that option as well. But before I add a video, what if I want to delete one of these images? I don't need it. So you can click on it and just hit the delete button and it's gone. You don't have to retain that. So I can add that item here. I'm going to go down to the next slide deck, and this time I'm going to add a video. So I am going to go up to Insert. Notice it says Video here. We're going to select Video. Now, the great thing about the video, it's going to YouTube, by the way. So, and you could also bring in something through a URL, if you notice right here, or if you have a video in your Google Drive, you could browse into your Drive and search for those videos. All right. You even can browse into recent and see if you have a recent video. So you can go searching. It has a search box that you can look for it. And you can see there's a bunch of different videos here that I could select and I could add. I want to kind of stick to my theme though with Kristallnacht and the Holocaust and so forth. And so I can do a keyword search in YouTube if I wish. And I could begin browsing and searching. However, if I had a URL, I could just paste in my link. If I already had that written down like in my lesson, a lot of you probably have lesson plans. I could click on it and say select. Oh, interesting. Every now and then you'll get this where it says it has a problem. I'm not sure why. I'm going to dismiss that. Normally that does work and it has no problem. So let me go back to Insert and go to Video. And I'm going to go to Search. Basically, I'm just doing a different version of what I did. I was trying to show you when you have a direct URL, it will work. It'll go in usually. You almost never see that error message. But you could also search for a specific title because in your lesson plan, maybe you just wrote down the title of the video. So in this case, if I took this from my plan, I can click on it. I'm selecting it. Notice how it has the blue box. I'm going to click Select. So I am going to guess that right now that there is probably some kind of situation with the internet or with Google Slides itself, because I did this morning, just kind of doing a final run through and it worked just fine. So we must be just having a special moment with our internet or with Google itself. And I encourage you to go back later, try this, and it should be fine. All right, I just noticed that Claudette said that she's seen this happen a lot recently. So I promise it does work. You'll be fine. Just maybe another time when people are maybe not as on all these tools right now. So I'm going to go ahead, and since we can't get the video to insert at the moment, and I'll tell you what I will do is this. Let me go back to video and go to Google Drive. And I don't even know what some of these are. Please don't judge me. Let's try that one. I don't even know if I own that. Okay, so this popped in. You can see apparently I did do something here at some point. So this video did pop in, and you see it has the play button there. So you've got it. You can resize it in your slide deck, put it where you want to. You can drag it up the side, add a title. To add a title, though, you're going to have to put that text box. Remember, you have to come in, add a text box at the top. But just show you. That's what YouTube will do as well. It will pop it right into the page, and you'll be able to resize and so forth from there. So if I look back up a slide deck, I can choose to come back, and maybe I decide that I want to delete one of these slides. At any given time, I can select the slide, and I can just tap the delete button, and it's gone. All right, and I don't have it. I also want to show you one last thing is that you can insert audio. So if you have audio saved, so you may notice it says My Drive, Shared Drives, Share with Me, and Recent. You do have to, if you download audio somewhere and you want to pop it into your slide deck, you're going to have to upload it into your Google Drive. So I'm going to select it. You can see I've already grabbed something that has to do with the presentation. I can enlarge it, and I could do something like this. Particularly if I had audio that went with the image, we could put that together, and then the person could hear it, and they would hit play and take it from there. We are almost at the end here. Just a couple of quick things I would like to add. Comment feature, very important for Google Slides, Google Docs. So if you've used comment feature in Docs, it's the same process here. So I can come up, I can pick any slide, wherever it might be, it can be anywhere. But Up here in the upper right-hand corner, in case you are new to using Google products, notice that you have a comment where you can add. If you click on this, you can see it kind of looks like a little bubble thing. If you click on it, you'll notice that one of the options is add a comment. And so you can add a comment. Notice it's in general to the whole slide. Particularly, what if I were working with my team, my grade level team or something? So maybe I'm working on a Saturday. I know the rest of them probably aren't going to come in until Sunday, so I can leave a comment. I could come in and highlight a particular word or section. I could do a paragraph. I can come back up to that comment bubble, and I can add a new comment and say, I like how this looks, which I know makes no sense, but roll with me on it. And I'm going to click comment. And what's really great is the people that, like if it were your grade level team, they can come back and click on the comment, reply, and you all can have a running conversation. But it's not just you. Students can do this as well. So you as teacher could examine a student's slide deck, comment, and then the student could write back, and you could have this feedback opportunity that makes it just so simple and embedded into the actual learning activity, if you will. All right. One of the last things I'm going to show you is adding a theme. So I'm just going to click on one of the slides. Let me close this over here. And I don't know if you've noticed, but you may have seen there's background. We just did that a little while ago. Here's theme. You can change the theme. If you click on it, you can browse one of the themes they give you as an option. And if I wanted to click on one of these themes, I could select it. And notice it has added it to at least parts of my presentation there. And if we click the drop down, notice that those different slide layouts, it gives you some different options there to use. You can also import a theme. So if you have a theme that you've uploaded into your Google Drive and placed, or you have one to upload, you can do that. You can go snag one from an existing presentation. And if I select that and then click the button for select, it didn't override it. Maybe I didn't do something. Oh well. Or it just may be cranky right now. Select. Oh, I bet I didn't click that. All right, so I think before I didn't click on it and then clicked import theme. So see, it was good I messed up on that so that you could see what happens if you don't do it right. So anyway, you can pop that theme in. You have this item. And the last thing we're going to do is how to share a slide deck. It's the same process as Google Docs, but I have a little surprise maybe for some of you. I ran through this presentation, started putting things together yesterday, and I was just looking at share and everything. And then this morning I was doing it. So when I go up here to the upper right-hand corner, you're going to see a change. Some of you may see a change. I'm going to click on the share button because right now it says I am the only person that has access. So yesterday I did not have this view. The share view has changed, but not everybody has the change in the share. One of my colleagues says hers still looks the old way for sharing and so forth. So anyway, I kind of like this view better. If you are a person that has the old way of sharing, go ahead and tinker with that. But I think what they're doing is rolling this out to everybody. So everybody should eventually in the next little bit, and certainly before you go in and take your test, I think everybody will probably get this new view. But I kind of like it because at the top it has it to where you could email and share with specific people. So if I wanted to share with Kelly, I could begin picking it, typing in her name and then finding her, and I could send it specifically to her. I can change her permissions. Am I going to allow her to edit my slide deck, or is she just going to be a viewer? Or maybe I'm going to allow her to comment. So different options here can change. You can even add a message if you want and say, hey, check this out. And you could click send. All right, and when you send it, they're going to get an email, and it's going to just pop right into their email, and they're going to know. It's going to eventually populate into their Google Drive in the Share With Me folder. I'm going to go ahead and cancel that because I want to show you this bottom item. So the top part is really sharing with groups or individual people. The Get link down here at the bottom is where you want to give it a link out that you can just share the link and a bunch of people can get to the item. Let's think about it. If you have 30-some kids in the class, really doesn't apply because in Classroom you could share through Classroom, but let's say you're doing a presentation at a conference and you want to make sure everybody at the conference has access to the slide deck. Kind of like today's slide deck, the one that's Path to Google Certification. We have to share a link so that everybody can get to it and that we aren't individually emailing it. So it says get a link. It says change link to Fayette County Public Schools. It says restricted only people. So if we want to change, if we want to open this up, we need to select that. And it says the default typically is anyone at Fayette County Public Schools with this link can view. Honestly, guys, in most cases, you're probably going to live there with students. Notice here you can change the permissions at this point. View, comment, edit. But I can also select the drop-down arrow and I can make that public if I wish. That's perfect for a conference where you don't want it to be only Fayette County users because you need them to be able to access it no matter what district that they're in. All right, so I am going to go ahead and let's say I'm going to pretend like, let's change it to public. It's going to update it. I'm just going to let them view. I don't want them writing on my presentation. I'm going to say done. I can copy the link. So now I have a link copied and done. And now I have a link that I can paste in somewhere and share with folks so that they have access to it. And I just want to say as I'm wrapping up here that I have a little works cited area because I don't want somebody watching this to think I stole and wrote that content and so forth. So I also want to show you this, is you can rearrange your slides and move them. So notice I can move my slides around so you can change the order and put them wherever you want. But if I want to make sure that people don't think that I was trying to act like this content was mine, these are my works cited bibliography area. I'm not making it fancy. I just want to show you that I did use the resources, the paragraph and some of the items I used, I did get from these works cited. So that's kind of the basics. I know that was pretty zoomed through really fast, but coming back to our Path to Google Certification, this is all about kind of giving you a little nibble in the water. It's also giving people that are not even interested in certification a chance to just kind of get oriented to Google Slides. But if you are pursuing the path to certification for Google for level 1, remember, get the slide deck, and if somebody came in late and did not copy down the link to the slide deck, I've got it down here in this bottom left-hand corner, bit.ly/path to GC1. So you can copy that and you can have that. And the practice task over here on the right side is where I'm going to send you off, and you do need to practice this. If you intend to do Google Certification Level 1, guys, you need to try this task because we tried to simulate the activity you might encounter on the test.